The rise of the divine feminine is not a threat to the masculine. Zoli, please explain.
Oh boy, that's a rough one. I think we have to put it in perspective. If we really understand what it is, it shouldn't threaten anybody because this comes in cycles. The divine masculine, the divine feminine. But what the heck is it? It makes no sense. It sounds like the name of a latte or something that you're going to get. So I think what we should first do is look at what the definition is. What is the divine masculine? It is the ability of the masculine energy, the Godhead, the all that is, the out there, the Holy Spirit, the energy field of the masculine that projects, that protects, that intellectualizes, that reasons. That is the masculine energy. Think of it more as the right brain. Don't go on that too much. The masculine energy is also available in females. If your kid's running down the street and the other four are up the road, you're going to do some male energy and haul ass after him, right? And I go, well, whatever. So we all have these abilities, but when you come in as a male, you embody that. You embody it. And you will have that electrical impulse of protect, heal in that way. There's so much that can be said about it, and there are other people that can say it better, but just bear with me. The divine feminine, which is now coming in, it's filtering in. What is that? Clearly, that's the mother. That's your intuition. That's the left brain. Men have the intuition also. It's your situational awareness. Gavin de Becker talks about that. He's talked about that for decades. Trust that. It's not just your gut, but it's what's inside of you that you know. That's the divine feminine. It's the Holy Mother. It's the Canon, Kuan Yin. It's more the Buddhic energies. We think of the Christ energies as, if you're not Catholic, of being more masculine, assertive. This is Jesus, this is Christ coming in. And Buddhism, the Dalai Lama is the personification of, what is it, Avalokiteshvara? I don't say that right. Well, I'm going to get in trouble by my Buddhist friends. But we have all these balances that happen. And do we get it right? No. Things are a mess. They're just a mess. But we're just people and we're trying to figure it out. So what does it mean when the so-called divine feminine comes in? It doesn't mean that women are going to rule the world. Have men ruled the world? Not really. The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. Cherchez la femme. Look at the woman behind the man. We work together. You're married. I've been married a long time. And you know that energies come and go, but you have to work together. Sometimes the female will express more male energies in the relationship. The male may express more feminine, but you cannot change the basics of who and what you are like that. You cannot change that. So with the divine feminine rolling in now, what we're going to see is more females visually in public, being able to express, to talk in politics, education, the sciences, anything like that. It doesn't mean that men aren't going to do that, but what a great thing, guys. Guess what you get to do? You get to chill some. I said this to my husband yesterday. This is a Zoliism. God forgive me if I'm insulting anybody's toes, but on television about this lovely place where you can put your mom. It's called a place for mom, and that is a place where if your mom has dementia, Alzheimer's, or she just needs help, she can live there. So my husband, his best friend, decided they're going to get on their Harleys that they haven't ridden in 10 years and drive to Sturgis. I said, you know what? That's why there's not a place for dad. You guys check out earlier. Why has that been the statistic? Why? Part of it, I think, is that men haven't been able to express their divine feminine, to heal, to, oh, I'm going to chill. I'm going to do this and that because it's been looked upon as being bad. I don't even need to go there. You know what I'm talking about. So this is really what's happening. If you look at the Vedas, if you look at the things that Christ said, if you look at the things from Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, there is a divine presence in all things. And it's going to either be assertive or more magnetic. And the assertive is the masculine, and the magnetic is the feminine. I don't know if I messed all that up, but I think about that a lot because my husband, the big Army Ranger unit, whatever guy, he doesn't like the idea of divine feminine because he thinks it means that he's going to lose his ability to protect, to be the alpha male that I love. Believe me, you want an alpha male. That's what you want. That's it. So he now understands more about it because I have had to learn more about it. So this also means, guess what, women? Need to step up to the plate. You need to use that ability of that developed Broca's area and be able to speak your truth. And I've addressed this before. Oh my God, have I had a hard time with this? I have a colleague back in Olympia, Tamerlane, who has called me on that for 30 years. Zoli, you said this, but then you did something else. Well, Space Cadet Zoli didn't get it. I finally got it. Now, I had to be 70 years old to get it. Thank you, Tamerlane. I appreciate that from 30 years ago, putting up with my ass. But I finally got it. And the way, how do you get it? You get it by going into your divine feminine nature of breathing and going, how do I feel? How do I feel? And what if there's not a place for dad? Because guys live apparently fewer times and fewer years than females. What if you get to feel more? What if you get to calm more? What if you get to be the alpha male and to be with other males, do things, go to Sturgis on your Harley, whatever, but take time for you. So I don't know. It's a great discussion about that. But for me, it has to do with pulling back and delving into the feeling nature of things. What do you feel? So think something, say what you're thinking, and then detach from the outcome. Now that can be taken to the extreme. Oh my God, should we say everything we think? Thank you. No, no, we can't and we shouldn't. I'm not going there. But that's the divine feminine. Does that make sense? Am I explaining that? And what is your opinion of that?
It really does clarify it to me that it's not a male female thing. It's the energies that we all have in us. It's not, when you hear the divine feminine, you can get a vision of, the feminist man haters destroying everything that's masculine. And it's not one or the other. It's just kind of a pull of energies in a certain direction.
I have a little obnoxious theory about that. It's probably going to get me in trouble, but I'm going to say it anyway because I'm safe here in Montana. Nobody knows where I live. I think that when women come in and they are overly aggressive, they are rampant, angry feminists, I want to say, who are you in your past life? Were you an obnoxious man? So now you hate them because you hate yourself. And men that don't want to take responsibility, I don't know what you call that. They call it beta male. I don't know. Were you the kind of woman before? So we have to look at in the whole piece. Sometimes we're just pissed off. And sometimes we go through these phases of asserting ourselves and we're obnoxious. Sometimes men go through phases of going, I can't go anymore. I'm just going to chill. So we go through these things. So we have to wait. We have to be patient. Feel free to remind me of that.
I'll do that and remind me as well. I think that can be the biggest struggle is the waiting.
It's awful. What do I joke about? I'm an Aries sun sign with Mars in the first house and Grand Trine in the fire sign. I'm like a chipmunk running around the house. But I'm fire. That's what God made me to be fire, and to push that energy out. So we all have to temper ourselves.
We do. And that's the challenge. And from what I hear you saying is the divine energy is kind of nurturing that slower, more connected side of things.
I think so. I have found in my life that things come in cycles. And Theosophy speaks of this. A cycle could be a lunar cycle, 2.5, 3 days, or it can be the cycle of a 2,500 year astrological. We were in the age of Pisces. Now we're in the age of Aquarius. And it goes backwards, by the way. It goes backwards. The next sign from Pisces is Aries. Be glad we're not in the age of Aries. Oh my God. So now, of course, as we've spoken of, we have to learn to do things collaboratively in a group. So how do you do that? We allow, but we have to allow ourselves first.
That's an interesting point. And it can be easier to point out what other people need to do instead of focus on where we need to do things within ourselves.
Oh my gosh, we touched on that on the radio show yesterday. The idea of projection. And David Snarch's work, Family Systems Therapy, addresses the ideal of marriage. And that is that there are things you're just going to do. If you're married, you're going to project. I will project my feelings onto my husband because I don't want to own it yet. And I'm going to deflect that, and he will do that to me. Sometimes you do that because you want to see what it looks like. Did you close the refrigerator? Yeah, but you didn't do it last week. We project the ideas and ideals, and the greatest addiction, blame a hole. We blame. But it's just human nature. We're just people. We'll die from this earth doing it. If we have enough energy left, we will.
Because we're still stuck in the physical, we haven't been able to, overcome. We can't really overcome that because we're just physical beings.
We come here to be that. They say that we are sparks of light, gods in human suits. I wrote this poem years ago, male or female searching for truth is just a soul in a person suit. I think that can be argued here or there. Are we supposed to be more spiritual now, or are we supposed to be physical, having a spiritual experience? Both are true. The dichotomy that fascinates me is two things can be opposite and be true. And I think that's one of those things.
That was one thing that was extremely hard for me to learn, is that two opposite things can be true at the same time. Once you accept that, certain things are a little more simple.
Well, it takes the fight out of things.
Right.
Which is no fun sometimes, but it takes the fight out.
And that frustration of that constant duality, it feels like a fight. It has to be one or the other. Like you said, that fight or the struggle to figure it out.
It's human nature. It's either love or fear, right? Or all those little cousins in between. But that's just human nature. And I harp on this, but I think the greatest thing we can do for ourselves and others is say, I am you, you are me, we're just people. But guess what? I get boundaries. I get to have a line in the sand. I don't need to know yours. I need to know mine. And if I know mine, I'm not going to run over yours. Do we do it? No, we're boundary violators all the time. Why do we do that? Because we don't think. It's different value systems, different vernacular and dialects of saying things. Who knows? But it's just part of human nature. And so if we can be people instead of trying to be spiritual, which can be hugely judgmental and obnoxious, just be people and your spirituality will come through naturally, I think.
I think you're right about that. And it makes me wonder about, we're here to be people and we come to the earth to do so. So then what are the off-worlders doing here?
They've never not been here. Isn't it interesting to think that we are here on this earth and there are many individuals who believe there's nothing else out there? I'm going to really mess this up. I'm not going to throw figures around. In the Milky Way itself, there are hundreds and thousands of suns capable of having a whole solar system. Think of Star Trek, Star Wars. Those things are probably true in allegorical sense, but they may actually be true. We don't know. The off-worlders, aliens, have never not been here. Why don't you see them? Because they're in another frequency. And in order for you to see a ship or to see any of them, they have to drop frequency. They have to allow the solidification of their energy field, of their invisibleness, so that you can see them. So they're there all the time. And they have cleaned up this planet. There's some that are shooting liquid nitrogen into the volcanoes to keep them from erupting. How is it that there was an 8.8 earthquake in Japan and I think nobody died? The tsunamis didn't come to this. The masters help that. And when you are an evolved being, you work with other beings and peoples and devas. You work with all of that together. We are little babies down here begging for help instead of helping ourselves. When Maitreya shows up in the visual, he is not going to rescue anybody. Do not pray to this person. When you see the Master Jesus standing there, what are you going to do? We have to act now as the people we want to be in that future. And who knows, you might be a star. I happen to know you are. People are star seeds. They bring gifts from other planets. My husband, when his soul was created, it was created on Arcturus. They're very high evolving, but he does crazy human shit because we're people. We're just people. So beings come from other worlds and they populate this world in many, many ways. But when people say they are an alien, no, you're not. You feel like an alien because you haven't done the psychological work to ground yourself here on this earth. Or you might just be going through a phase where you realize that your soul was created out there. That's a whole subject matter. And I've told the true story that almost sounds like a joke where 30 years ago, I thought, oh, I'm an alien. So I called this psychologist on the phone and I said, I'd like an appointment. He said, certainly. What's going on? I said, I'm an alien. Click. Did he do the right thing? Yeah. You can't talk somebody out of what they're going through. So, what I would say to those people is, no, you're not. You've got a birth certificate. You're a person. You're not an alien in a person's suit. Your soul is probably from somewhere else, but you're a people. So, acclimate yourself to this planet. Did you brush your teeth this morning? You checked your bank account? How are your relationships with people? Have you done any exercise? What have you eaten? Get grounded and get physical, and you will be a spiritual being.
What's fascinating about that is the tendency to shy away from the physical. You know, we all want to be awakened and move to the 5D so that we no longer have to be the physical, but we're actually here to do the physical stuff and we have to be people because that's what we are.
We don't have to pay our rent. Yeah. We just don't. And it's very easy to sit at home in our PJs and decide that we're an alien or we're an angel or there are this or that, and nobody's calling you on it. It's very easy to do that. We all do that kind of wacky stuff. Hopefully when we're younger, but you're going to go through phases. You're going to try on a lot of different hats. Younger people, you're going to try on this, you're going to try on that. When I was a kid, I told my parents I was a unicorn. They didn't take me to the vet. They said, yeah, she'll work through it. I thought I was all kind of stuff. I was very creative. Drove my poor parents insane. But you go through phases. And even as a young adult, you're going to try on different hats. Is this me? Is that me? You're going to try things on. And social networks and your personality that will organize into who you think you are then. I've gone through all kind of phases in my life. Oh my God. But that's what makes you who you are. But we look back and blame ourselves and others for our learning process. And so the off-worlders, the aliens, Mars is 3 million years ahead of us. There are 3 levels on Mars. There are the people there, and they're in a invisible frequency, as we like to call it. They're not physical because they've worked out of this physical thing, but they are people. There are some that are evolved like we are pretty much on this planet. There are some that you don't even want to talk to because they're more plutonic. And then there are the ones that are greatly evolved. So there are 3 levels. But we're just all here in the soup pot. We got to help each other. A lot of times you help people by not helping.
And that it's curious to reflect on the off-worlders, as you put it, because often we think of aliens, we think about them from a human perspective. They're interested in us. They're here for us. They are curious about us, when really they're just doing their thing and we're doing our thing, and we're coexisting in the same space.
These are very highly evolved. They are very highly evolved. And if they wanted to hurt you, ruin your life, whatever, it would have been done. It could be done like that. But there are protective mechanisms. This planet is the only planet in our solar system to produce a Christ. It's the only one. And this planet is where all the stuff is happening. It's the most exciting Hollywood kind of planet there is right now, because we are evolving very, very quickly. And we're making an absolute mess out of it too. We're doing a lot of good things too. Look at artificial intelligence. Oh my God, what a mess that can be. But what a boom that can be. What is going to happen that terrifies people is that there will be a population in between now and the time when AI is figured out, who will lose their jobs, lose their skills, lose this, lose that, because we are changing over to where the boring rote work is going to go away. It will be done mechanically. Food will be grown on this planet by huge, thousands and thousands of acre farms with these huge automated things. Can you still have a garden? Yeah. Factories. People won't sit in the factory and do this all day. So what will happen after everybody freaks out? Oh my God, I don't have a job anymore. We're going to have to figure out, who are you? What you come here to do? How can you be creative? New things will be created, new jobs. Look what Elon is doing in Texas, I think South Texas, building this entire community to where people that work in his factory will live there. There will be drone deliveries, there will be electric cars, it'll be futuristic. And this is what's coming. But we get so stuck in the meat. I do it too. Get stuck in the me. Oh my God, this is my this, my that, my that. It's just how human nature is. We are evolving out of that though, but we really are. So we have to be now as though a Messiah is here. And here's the point. What if the Messiah that the Jews are looking for, the Christ the Christians are looking for, the Imam Mahdi that the Muslims are looking for, the Kalki avatar, what if it's all the same person? What would that do? What would it do if it were? It would bring us together if that were true. Wait and see.
Wow. I sense peace. It would bring peace because everyone would see their similarities and the division would be over.
It'd take a while. I think that it would take a while. The first thing that we need to do is there will be an equal division of food and water on this world, all over the world. So the first thing that will happen, the United Nations will become what it's supposed to be, and that is functional and non-political. And there will be a great bartering that occurs. This country, we have too much wheat. We need cotton. This other country says, well, we need cotton. We have too much this or that. There will be a grand bartering. After we have peace on this planet and we quit killing each other, there will be a free source of electricity. Where is it? It'll come from the earth itself. Have they figured it out yet? No. Because what will we do? We'll create a weapon with it. But it's coming. It's coming. So you have to have hope. But until those times, we have to try. We have to use every bit of ingenuity we have to go, AI is coming. If I'm going to lose my rote job, what can I do? I remember back when I was living in Tenino on the farm. This was logging was going under. A lot of people lost their jobs. There were people in their 50s and early 60s that had to find new work. They had to find new creativity. It was a very, very hard time. I'm not betraying that, believe me, as my mother would say. I'm not making fun of that or minimizing it at all. There will be a population of people stuck in the middle. It's bad. That's bad. That's not good. But we have to figure it out. Human beings are amazing. We have come so far. And that's one of the beauties of this planet that the Space Brothers see. Look at what human ingenuity can do. And we can come together and we will be together. It will happen. The future of this country, the United States, the melting pot, is you will be able in a couple hundred years to recognize an American. They will be darker skinned, some light eyes, some dark eyes. Who knows what the hair will be, but we are a melting pot of many different kinds of people. So you'll be able to look at an American. I can look at a French because I lived in France. I know French very well. I could say, well, that's a French person. Say, well, that's an American. So it's coming. All kind of amazing things that are coming. But what do we do? Oh my God, I'm stuck. I do it too. Are you kidding, Zoli? It's not about you.
Yeah, that getting stuck, we seem to have a really hard time accepting the things we can't change. And then we just want to stay stuck in the misery of that.
Well, in that stress, that what stress is resisting the change. Well, you have to resist it a little bit at first to make sure it's good. You have to make sure that you're not going to lose absolutely everything because you're pissed off, you're on a tangent, or you got dopamine, serotonin, GABA running through your brain, neurotransmitters, and you're losing your shit in public, getting arrested at the airport because you're screaming and yelling because your latte wasn't hot. This happens all the time. And it's going to happen more and more and more and more. We're scared. We're scared of this world, of these changes that are happening. The disparities among people is huge. Were there always disparities? But look at ancient Rome. Look at that. So I'll get off on these tangents. What was the question?
Well, it all comes back to how we, I guess, combine the physical and the spiritual to bring about the ingenuity that you're speaking of.
You know, some people are more, the way things used to be, it was very well defined. You had the religious class, you had the educator class, and you had the people who worked and ran things. It was very clear. It's not now. We kind of have to be all that in ourselves. Why? Because we're more evolved. We really are more evolved, and we really do have more access to the infinite and to change. And with the divine feminine coming in, especially for the next 20 years, I think we're going to have more access to these inner worlds. And so it's really personal. Do you want to be more spiritual or do you want to be more material? Well, look at your astrology chart. It's all there too. Some people came in to be this or to be that. We didn't all come in to be the same thing. And of course, you gravitate to the people who are like ourselves. Just human nature.
Do we gravitate to people in the spiritual world in the same way we do physically?
Well, we think we do because we want to be right. We want to believe our perception of what God is or higher power is right. Look at the world wars. Oh my gosh, they have the wrong name for God. They're not doing this with their hands or they're not dressing in this certain way. It's just how we are. We're scared to death that we're going to do something that God's going to reject us. Then we'll really be in deep shit. God don't reject you. God isn't a bigger and better you. It is. It is. You can't even understand it. And that love that has no beginning or end, that's how God comes to us. No other way. So to think you're going to be judged or you can make God angry, that's just human nature. Those are emotions that are given to humans to evolve and to learn and to grow. That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, and that feeling comes from years of wisdom and studying, however.
Other people's wisdom, maybe. I'm a research analyst. I get my shit everywhere else. Who knows? And I put it all together. Who knows what's right or not? Thank you for that. That's very kind. However, look at all the stuff out there. I've had the time and the energy and the wherewithal to be able to read and study and collect it. I am a theosophist. My religion is Catholicism. I love Buddhism. And so it's all one. If you go deep enough into all the great teachings, you're going to find the same things said in different ways that were set for populations at a specific period of time so that we can learn and we can grow. We're clothing the old in the words of the new.
Oh, wow. There's a lot of hope in that.
There should be. There should be. If you look at the Vedas, if you look at the Christian Bible, if you look at the testaments of people who are now masters, these people had a hard time, but what did they do? They faced the demons in themselves, which is their emotions, and they resisted the material world running their life. That is how you get there. To be honest in your mind, sincere what you say, and detached from the outcome. When I do that, oh my God, life goes well, and I'm not obnoxious to be around. It's a learning process, and it comes like this. It's not stable. But something Daddy said to me years ago, because I'm off on this tangent or off on that tangent, he said, you'll reach a point that you're not here and here. You'll be more here. And that comes a lot of time with age. It comes from a lot of time making a lot of mistakes and other people pointing that out to you, going, well, that's embarrassing. So we're supposed to learn and we're supposed to grow. We're not going to figure everything out. We're just not.
That's so relatable. We tend to yo-yo our way through things and then find a happy middle point.
We do. We do. Look at cats playing. Look at the dogs playing. Look at animals, right? The baby deer are now outside. There's a doe. There's Bella, Ella, Della, and Stella. And they all come back every year with their babies. They want to drink some water, do some salt licks, so they want to do something. And the babies are schizoid. They are running around driving everybody crazy. But that's where they are. That's what they're supposed to be doing. As they age, they will see that that kind of behavior will attract predators. We have mountain lions everywhere, all over Montana. They're everywhere, but you just don't see them. They're in the trees. You're not going to see them. We have bears. Black bears are prey animals. They're scared. They're scared and they run away. But we do these behaviors at different times in our life because they're expressing the age, the energy field, the neurotransmitters, the human growth hormone that is there when we're younger. And so hopefully there will come a time that you and I have discussed where in schools we are taught boundaries. We're taught how to control the emotions. And your astrology chart is looked at, your numerology, your blood work, who knows what. I have no idea. All kind of HIPAA laws won't be there by then. But all this is in the ancient teaching. Everything is there already. There is nothing new under the sun. It's just not. These are not new times, except it's a new day. I woke up this morning, the sun's up. It'll be light until it's dark. That happens every day. But the new things are the things that we're learning how to take that old and clothe it in the vestments of the day. How do we do that? That's brilliant. And that brings that knowledge forward. Look at what Blavatsky did. Oh my God. She took work from the Vedas. She took things that had come forth from Atlantis even before then. And she spoke and she wrote. She went through huge difficulty. Alice Bailey took that work from the master and she mediated that, wrote books. Then came Benjamin Creme, who modernized it even more. So we had the old modernized so that we can understand it. If you've tried to read any of Blavatsky's works, it's very difficult because you're looking at the 1800s, early 1900s. You're looking at that period of time where the vernacular and dialect was different. We have enough trouble talking to somebody from a different part of the country. Oh, for God's sake. So what we are doing is our hearts will open more. That's what I think the divine feminine will do. Our hearts will open more. There will be more safety and security in speaking, talking, sharing. It's coming, but of course that'll come and go too.
Yeah, there seems like an urgency in the atmosphere at the moment where everything, all the crazy stuff is getting out of the way, maybe, so that that opening and that more nurturing way can take place.
Could be. It could be different now than it was 5,000 years ago. We're more evolved. There's more stuff on the planet. We communicate all over the world. Uh, there are things that are different, but the ancient knowledge is always there. It's not different.
That's a good point. When do you feel most hopeful?
I think when I'm writing, I'm in touch with that part of myself that is kind, that is listening. There's so much that I cannot do. The autism just slams me. But I've always been told, and I know it's true, I have a skill and a grace of being able to listen. I can hear. When I do that, and I'm writing or I'm doing art or we're talking like this, it gives me great hope to be able to pass those things on. Who knows who's listening? I have no idea. Who knows who's watching? I have no idea. It's not my job to know. My job is to mediate frequencies and energy fields that come to me when this is all open. When this is open, and you can't be upset when that's happening. You just can't, because it's an energy field. There are neurotransmitters that are activated. I won't get into all that because I'll mess that up too. But stuff's going on that's good. That's when I feel the most hopeful. And when I'm around other people who are uplifting. I don't know if I spoke of this last time I was downtown. I think I did. There was a homeless gentleman in a wheelchair. And he said, "Hey, you know what?" I said, "What?" I said, "You're going to tell me, right?" He said, "Yeah." He says, "I'm having a good day." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because nobody said I couldn't."
Huh. Wonderful.
Who has told me that I can't? I'll get caught up in my girl dramas or my emotional thing, or I have 8 loads of laundry to do and I've got to write this. I've got to get into town. I got to this or that. That's life. Life happens. And when I will stop and go, "You know what, Zoli, you're in control of this. You want attention for being a dramatic whatever. You can get that attention, but it's not going to be good." My husband will just tune me out, which he should, which he should. I'll go on and on and on and on, and he'll say, "Can I ask you something?" Sure. And I think he's going to ask me something about my drama. He'll go, "Is there any more chicken?" "Yeah, there's more chicken, honey. I'll get it for you."
What a great
So
way to get
how
you
we
out of that drama.
Well, it is, and we help each other like that, because when we're caught in that drama, we have those neurotransmitters that are popping. We have the dopamine and the GABA and the serotonin, and we're just locked in it, and it's just firing away. The whole nervous system is just firing away. And when something slaps that and stops it, oh, I'm back to frontal brain. I'm back to rational, reasonable thinking, hopefully. I'll let you know.
That really highlights the importance of collaboration and having a community of people who, I guess, will call you on your shit, but will also bring you back to the hope.
Yeah, because we all have it. We have the good, the bad, the ugly. It's just what we are. You and I have discussed this a lot. There's you and me and Tina and then the artists, and we're all doing our thing. And we don't even think about how it works together. It just works because we have an agreement that it will, and we each stay in our boundaried system. And to me, that is very new agey, very Aquarian, whatever you want to talk about. But I have to be responsible for myself. My job is to mediate these frequencies and to get out whatever comes out. How does that happen? Happens all during the day. I have notebooks all over the house. I have 2 or 3 iPads. I have the phone. I write on toilet paper, whatever. It just comes out. And I know when it comes out, I better write it right then. I better do it now.
It's great advice. Often when you feel the creative hum, something in life is busy. And so having all those tools at your side, you're not going to forget it. That's cool.
Oh, it's a long learned lesson. I've been doing that for a long time because I didn't, and I lost a lot of stuff.
Hmm. It sounds like it's about listening to the give and take of the different energies as to where you're at now.
Yeah, for me it is, and I think we can all that we all have these different skills. I'm always amazed when I talk to other psychic mediums, and I know quite a few. None of us are alike.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend who is she's clairaudient. She hears things. What is it called when you smell things? Another one just knows things. That's clairsentience, I think. But we get things in different ways, and I think it's because of our astrology chart. We've learned it before, or it has to do with how we're going to live life. And so we can share those things and we can become a greater community. You got to have good boundaries. You have to know how far you want to go in this area and then pull back on the other. And do we ever get it? No, we just don't. But we have to keep trying and we put it out there and we forgive ourselves and others and we just keep moving. When we get stuck, it's because we're not moving.
That's a simple advice, and it's so important. Keep moving.
I think that's how spirituality works. That's the beauty of it. Maitreya says the past is evil. Why is it evil? Because we're not moving and we're not evolving and not growing. That's where the world of spirit is. It's somewhere past the yellow brick road. It's somewhere out there. But we can walk on that path and we can absorb pieces of it. Not the whole thing at once, but that's the beauty of all of us. Different people get different things, and then you share it, and then you grow that way. And that's divinity. That's love.
That's so beautiful. I want to leave it there because that's the message that people need to hear.
I hope so.
Thank you, Zoli.
Thank you, Linda.
And thank you, everyone. Reach out to us at ZoliArtMontana.com and have a wonderful day.